everybody, this is the Wikstrand. So when I grew up, I always thought that The Naked Gun, sure, it was fun, but The Naked Gun 2.5, that's where the comedy was. It was one of my most favorite comedy of all time. But when I rewatched it, I discovered that while it's being a very, very funny movie, The Naked Gun just might be one of the single greatest comedies of the entire 1980s. Let's find out why, shall we? This is my review of The Naked Gun. Vincent Ludwig, aka Ricardo Montalban, yes, that is actually Khan from The Wrath of Khan, has offered up to carry out a special assignment for Papschmir, who I suppose is some kind of a link between all the baddies that Frank Drebin beat up in, Beirut in the beginning of the movie and, him. And he says that he can perform this impossible assassination of Queen Elizabeth II, who is going to come to the United States for a visit and stuff like that. And how he's going to do it is that he actually has this kind of a device thing that will make people instantly want to kill a specific target. If you think, man, that sounds like an actually kind of a fun concept for a movie, maybe they should, do a movie from that concept. I got news for you. They actually done that, and it's called Telephone from 1977, starring Charles Bronson. It's not, exactly a shot-by-shot remake, but it features a lot of callbacks and parodies of that movie. If you haven't seen Telephone, it doesn't matter, because your enjoyment of this movie doesn't hinge on the fact if you've seen it or not. Unfortunately for Vincent Ludwig, he has this cop that is snooping around, Frank Drebin, played by Leslie Nielsen, who, finds out that one of his ships were used for this heroin deal, which caused Nordberg, aka O.J. Simpson, to be in a coma right now. And he's also, by the way, subjugated to a whole litany of fun and creative slapstick and cartoon violence. So let's find out together if Frank Drebin is going to be able to piece this thing together, and if he's going to be able to stop Vincent Ludwig from carrying out this dastardly evil plan. The Naked Gun is, in short, a parody of a classical cop movie where you only have 24 hours to clear Nordberg's name from the heroin thing, and we need to find the evidence to put this powerful man behind, and he's a pillar of the community and stuff like that, which has been shown in tons and tons of TV and regular feature-length film around cops that doesn't have a good social life, has gotten a divorce and all that stuff. So it is a tried and tested formula. This is an absolutely amazing comedy. The thing that when I rewatched this movie I was most surprised by it is how incredibly fast-paced it is. It's always happening stuff. The movie never feels old. The movie never feels like it overstays its welcome. They have actually enough jokes for the entire movie. And by the way, the movie is 85 minutes long, so they don't waste a second on this one. There's always some kind of wacky nonsense happening, whether it is, the fancy car chase where, somehow we have an oil truck and a missile that is, on the same street that then goes right into a, fireworks factory, and Frank Drebin is standing there, so move along, there's nothing to see here, and behind him just all this chaos and mayhem. And why this movie works also is the fact that Leslie Nielsen is so perfect for this movie. He doesn't play this as a comedic part. He plays this 100% straight. He does never try to crack a joke. He never tries to, do something funny. He does stuff that isn't funny, and because this just causes all this chaos and all this incredibly funny and creative slapstick, that is where the humor lies. This is something that people who has done, parodies over the years never understood. It is the situations, and if you put a, serious deadpan performance in the midst of it, that's where the comedy comes from. Not from trying to do hoo-ha and, toilet humor. Even the toilet humor they have in this movie works. And they don't miss a single cliche to make fun of, but they do it in such a clever and nice ways. And the slapstick in this movie is just so insanely fun. I just laughed my ass off. I am probably seen this movie around 15-20 times up until this point. I just find it to be more and more hilarious the longer it goes, because this movie actually holds up. It is bizarre to think that an almost 40-year-old comedy about, pretty recent topics actually works. I don't know how they did it. It might be the fact that, my nostalgia goggles might, be quite attached to my face, but I actually watched this with my 11-year-old daughter, and she just laughed her ass off at almost the entire thing, but she almost got annoyed in how incredibly stupid Frank Dredd was. Oh, why must you be so stupid all the time? What is he going to, destroy this time? She was asking. She was a little bit confused of, these people in the beginning in Beirut, when they're having this meeting on how they're going to humiliate America. Here have Idi Amin and Gorbachev and Yasser Arafat and Ayatollah Khamenei and his great mohawk. That is such a thing that I think is so damn funny. Furthermore, the story about Frank Drebin and his attempt to try to, fix this thing with the assassination could have been, just your regular TV show with his cop is trying to figure out how, this assassination is going to take place, blah, 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 blah. And if they just would have done that, it would have been, just your bog standard cop movie, but now they're making fun of it in the most clever way possible. And I love the side characters. I love George Kennedy as, the captain who's always misunderstands everything and always, tries to explain to Frank, all of these insane, stupid nonsense that is going on. And I just love Nancy Marquand's fantastic facials and body languages when she has to, think to herself, oh my God, I'm going to have to cope with this fucking moron now. So, is this a comedy that you should see? Yes. If you have never seen any of the great parodies that were made in this, 1980s, such as, Airplane and Top Secret, I think this is the best of the bunch. I think this one is the gold standard when it comes to great parodies. If you've never seen, any of these movies before, I suggest you would watch those three. And I also would suggest that you watch The Naked Gun 2.5, while not being as good as this movie is. It is still a very good and quite fun parody, even though I think the third one, they kind of overstated their welcome a little bit, and the writing was getting a little thin in my opinion. But there are even moments in that movie that I thought was very, very brilliant. But after that, the entirety of the parody genre fell off a cliff. So if you want to see fantastic, spectacular and complete nonsense slapstick, very, very cool and smart writing, some pretty good jokes, this is the movie for you. There are, these few sequences that, drags on a little bit too long, and there are moments that feels a little dated and feels a little bit that you have to know what it is about if you're going to understand the joke completely. But for the most part, this movie holds up very, very good. I would also like to say that, Priscilla Presley is actually a kind of an underrated performance in this movie. Sure, the role that she has is a bit one-dimensional, but she does it so well, and the chemistry she has with Leslie Nielsen is absolutely great. So they just mesh so well together. So this is one of these movies that I don't know how I would react to it if I would have seen it for the first time, now. But I watched this movie yesterday, and I actually, felt that this movie is just such a refreshing and fun and rambunctious and almost kind of rebellious little piece of entertainment. And under 90 minutes, they are able to cram in so many fantastic jokes, and they are able to cram in so many great little moments that it is one of these comedies that I think absolutely holds up. And by the way, they saved what is perhaps the greatest joke in the entire movie for the absolute last second, giving us the perfect ending to a comedy. It is so difficult to do that. It is so much easier to, cram in the really great stuff in the beginning, and they do. The third act is, the least great of the three, but that last gag, it is so damn perfect. The Naked Gun is an excellent, almost perfect comedy. I give this movie 89 points. If you've never seen this movie before, and if you're in the right mood, prepare to have your funny bones quite tickled. From the top of my head, I cannot think of a single comedy from the 80s that is better than this. Can you? So which one is your favorite when it comes to the parodies of the 80s and early 90s? Comment below, and I'll see you next time from, well, so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.